Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and today we're going to be taking a look at trying to remove the bubblegum from these vintage Topps Battlestar Galactica cards. Now, a while back, Carl from Wax Packin very kindly sent me over a box of stuff that he thought I might like. Included in it was this wonderful Battlestar Galactica box that's in a nice sort of Perspex case, and it also contained a load of sort of unopened wax packs, including these ones from Battlestar Galactica, which is a show I really like, and I do have a large collection of Battlestar Galactica toys. But he said to me there was a very common problem with these wax packs, and that's that not only did you get the cards and a sticker in it, each pack came with one stick of bubblegum, and because these are now 42 years old, the bubblegum tends to go off and sticks to the top card. So if you open up any of these old packets, rather than seeing a lovely set of cards like this, you see cards that look like this, where the gum has stuck pretty firmly to the front of the card. You can see he's actually sent me a few of these, all in various states of, stickiness really. It seems to only affect the front of the card, so that's the sort of slightly laminated version, so there's a little bit of a sort of a shiny surface to it, not on the sort of bare card on the back. But you can see each of these cards, the gum is firmly stuck onto it. In fact, I've only opened a couple of these just to see what it's like, and it is really sticky. So what he asked is for me to have a go and see if there was any way I could sort of remove this gum from the card and save the cards. Now, I have to say, this is something I've never tried before, but I've done a bit of research and I have a couple of ideas of things that may or may not work. I'm sort of thinking that none of them will work particularly well, and all of these cards are very damaged, but there's no harm in trying. And as I've got 4 cards, I'm going to try 4 different techniques to see if anything can be done to improve this sort of the sticky mess that is now stuck on the front of these cards. So really all we can do is crack on and see if anything can be done. So here are the 4 cards, and they all are sort of much in the same state. So you can see that that is the bubble gum, and it is firmly welded to the front. Let's open up this card just so you can see. Carl's put them in plastic packaging so that they don't stick to anything else, but they've actually sort of quite stuck to the inside of the card. So you can see you've got the bubble gum here, and it is firmly attached to the card. I don't want to sort of bend it too much because I have a feeling it will take off the top layer. This one, it's a little bit sticky. The I guess it must be sugar has sort of melted over the years and stuck to it. So we're going to have to sort of try and unstick that. Let's open up another one just to see what that's like. So we've got another one here. Should be much the same, I'm guessing. Yeah, it's all quite sticky. So as I say, I've got 4 ideas of what I'm going to try on these cards, and we'll see if any of them work. It may be none of it works, but it's certainly worth a try. So the 4 things I'm going to try is lighter fluid, of course, because I've tried lighter fluid on pretty much everything else and it seems to work a marvel on most things, but that's normally on sort of glues. Because this is sugar based, I'm not quite sure it will work, so I'm going to do lighter fluid on one of them. Then on the next one I'm going to try let's say steam. So I'm going to boil a kettle, and I'm going to put this card, or hold this card in the steam above the kettle, and see if the hot water and the sort of warmth of the steam is enough to melt the stickiness, and we'll be able to remove this. Don't know. Next, after that, we're going to try just putting it in a microwave. So I'll put this in a microwave for a very short amount of time, again just to see if we can heat up the sugars and maybe release some of this gum. I don't know, it might work, who knows. And then the final one is one that you hear sort of a lot when people get chewing gum and bubble gum in their hair, is to stick it in the freezer. So I think we'll stick this final card in the freezer and see if that enables us to get rid of it. Basically, we're just going to try each one and see what happens. So we'll start with the first one, which is going to be card number 63, and we're going to do this with some lighter fluid. This is card number 63, and as I said, the sugary sort of stuff has gone pretty firm. Actually, it's pretty hard. It does get sticky if you sort of warm it up with your hands. You can see here it's sticking to my finger quite nicely. I don't think lighter fluid is really going to work on this, but it's certainly worth a try because I've tried it on pretty much everything else I've ever fixed. And all I have here is a lid, just because I want to sort of soak this card. I've got some normal lighter fluid here, and I'm just going to liberally pour it on. I also have a lot of kitchen towels, so if this gets sticky I can sort of mop up the sticky mess. The main thing I want to do is actually remove the bit of bubble gum without damaging the card. So let's just give it a try. Well, normally on something like this, if it was a sort of sticky tape or a sort of glue and that, the lighter fluid would have actually worked straight away. But as you can see with this, it's making no difference. In fact, it's making the sugary mess around the edge quite sticky. I've absolutely soaked this card in lighter fluid, but nothing is happening to it. I managed to get a little bit sort of away at the corner there, but that could just be that it's sort of not stuck as well as the rest of the bubble gum. So I'm going to say that lighter fluid definitely doesn't work. I'm going to let this card dry out, let all of the lighter fluid evaporate, and maybe we can do a sort of fifth test on this one, because really that has done absolutely nothing to it. So let's get on with some of the other ideas I have. We'll let that all evaporate, and yeah, we can probably use that one again. With card 113, I'm going to try putting this in the microwave for sort of 15 seconds and see if that is enough to warm up the sugar and sort of loosen the gum from the card. If it doesn't work after 15 seconds, I may nudge that up to 30 seconds. I don't want to cook the sugar, I just want to sort of warm it up enough that it will loosen. So we're going to try that in the microwave and see what happens. 15 seconds was nowhere near long enough on the microwave, so I started doing it in 30-second bursts, and that actually seemed to work after a while, because the 30-second burst enabled the bubblegum to be warmed up, and as soon as it started to become a bit softer, you could then start to remove it from the card, and it lost sort of the bulk of its stickiness. So I did it about 4 times, and in the end this is as much as I managed to get off the card. The gum itself became quite soft, so you could easily sort of remove that. The sort of sticky sugary residue around the edges, actually nothing changed on that. It didn't even get warm. I was expecting that to sort of get warm and a little bit soft, but it didn't. So the gum did become soft and you could remove it, and you can see it's not actually left too much residue on the card underneath it. There's a little bit there, and as you can see it did take a little bit of the print off just on that edge, but overall I would say that's a reasonable result. I've actually managed to get the gum off the card without damaging the card any sort of too much more, I suppose, but it's certainly not a perfect result. So let's move on to the next sort of test and see what that one does. With card 120 we are going to try putting this into the freezer for a few hours and see if freezing it manages to loosen the bubblegum from the backing card. It's sort of an old wives' tale of if you get bubblegum in your hair, then you're supposed to freeze it, and that enables you to remove it from the hair. So it's again certainly worth trying on something like this. So a couple of hours in the freezer and we'll see what happens. I left the card in the freezer overnight, so I had a long time to make sure that it really got as cold as it possibly could, and basically as soon as I took it out of the freezer I started to work on it, but it really made very little difference. As you can see here, I managed to break off part of the chewing gum, but it did take off some of the print as well. All of the sort of sugary mess around the outside started to become sticky very quickly, but really it didn't actually make any difference to how easy it was to remove the gum from the card. In fact, I don't think it made any difference at all. I probably could have done this without putting the card in the freezer at all. So I'm going to say freezing the card didn't work. Here is card 97, and for this one we're going to try and steam off the bubble gum. So I've got a bowl here, I've got my kettle down on the floor, I'm going to boil some water, pour it into the bowl, and then I'm going to hold this card over the steam with these tweezers so that I don't burn my hands. Hopefully that will sort of start to maybe melt or warm up the sugars and the sort of bubble gum, and we can then remove it. So let's give this one a try. I'm going to just boil the kettle and we'll put some water in the bowl. within a few seconds of putting the card over the steam, you could see and feel that the bubblegum was starting to get a lot softer, and actually just using a pair of tweezers I was able to really quite easily remove most of the bubblegum from the card. And then to get rid of the sticky residue that was left around the edge, I just dipped a bit of the kitchen towel into the warm water and used that to gently wipe away the sort of sugar from the surfaces of the card. The card did get a little bit damp, but not enough to sort of make that much difference to it. And you can see here, this is the end result. I think the card actually survived remarkably well. There's a few little marks on it. You can see where some of the print has come off. There's just a little bit there, and obviously where the sugar has sort of soaked into the card for the past 40 years, there's a little bit of a stain around the edge. You can just sort of see it where it says 97 there on the corner. But overall, that has actually come up, I'm going to say, remarkably well. I wasn't expecting any of these fixes to make that much difference. You can see the back of the card looks really good. You'd hardly know anything had happened to that. The front of the card, there's just a few small marks. So I'm going to say steaming the bubble gum off actually does work. For me, this has been a very interesting experiment. I had sort of 4 ideas at the start and didn't really think any of them would make that much difference to removing this bubble gum. Certainly lighter fluid didn't work. The microwave sort of worked. You can see that did manage to get rid of the gum, but not really. Freezing definitely didn't work, but just good old-fashioned steam actually made quite a difference. So if you have cards like this and you want to try it, basically you have nothing to lose because these cards are pretty ruined to start with. So I would say go down the route of using some steam, and you can see that you can get a card that looks half decent out of it, especially if they're rare trading cards that you want to save. It's going to be worth doing. It does take a little bit of time to do that one. You can see probably took me about 5 minutes to get the gum all off that card, but you know, as I say, these cards are ruined anyway, so just go for it. It's worth a try at least. I want to say a massive thank you to Carl from Wax Packin. Do check out his YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description so that you can go and see all the videos that he has been making. They're really fascinating and well worth watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.